What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Cut the Crap. I'm your host, Christian, here with my main man, Rex and Steven. How's it going today, Mr. Rex? I was going to say Steven, but he started yawning, so.
We doing all right. We got some things going on and we taking care of, but ain't nothing new.
I hear that. And Steven, how you doing today? I love that Brazil shirt, bro.
Getting ready for the Copa America. Gotta start repping.
Yeah, bro. It's all about Portugal, though. Portuguese now, I found out.
You're Iberian, motherfucker. We're not gonna have this topic.
He's mad he found out I'm Portuguese
Iberian,
now.
he's not, bro. It came out Iberian.
No, it didn't.
Sir, the Iberian that, bro. It literally, you showed me the results.
I'm gonna show you right now. Log in.
And on the Iberian Peninsula, for my geographically challenged friends, there's two countries on there. There is Spain and Portugal that share that peninsula. Now, if you were to tell me you're like from the Azores or something, then I'll be like, now you're on something. Which, by the way, that's a destination I would love to visit. Volcanic islands in the middle of the Atlantic, pretty dope.
Oh,
it's still one of the cheapest places on earth to eat.
That's stupid.
Anyway,
23 me down. This says I have to reset my password. It could take up to 1 hour to get a valid link. What type of bullshit is that? Man, you know what, 23 me? You guys flopped today. You guys flopped. Anyway,
surprise us. What are we talking about today? Surprise us.
Surprise you. I got a surprise. I got one up my sleeve. You guys ready?
Drum roll, please.
Is marriage a government concept?
Oh.
I like Steven's face. He was just like, wait a minute. He has to think about this. I got Steven thinking for once. So it actually came up when me and Rex was talking. And we said when me and him did the podcast, we were gonna wait for you to come back to talk about this. And it just goes through because they always say, oh God, marriage is not a government contract between, if you're religious, you and the Lord, or if you're not religious, it's a piece of paper. Some people are like, why get married at all? All it is a paper to change your last name. Don't go through the hassle. Some people, want to do it. So we're gonna fiddle around with this a little. See is marriage just a government concept where you have to get it done to get the paperwork and all that for government purposes, or can you get married and it be like what some religious beliefs are, where it's between you and that God of your choice, Jesus, or all the other ones that are out there? What are you guys thinking? I like Rex's face. Let's start with Rex. Rex is over there leaned in.
I had to real quick. I had to think because I had to think about history for a second, and I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay.
Just
without. Let's start with Steven then. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say since I just thought quickly off the top of my head, I'm gonna say yes. It is. No, it's not a government made thing. It has become as we have developed as a society, but originally the concept of it, no. The reason why I say that is because I had to think about history, and correct me if I'm wrong. One of you guys could Google it, but wasn't it like King Henry VIII that this motherfucker was so ballsy with the concept of marriage because he was a Catholic, he was a practicing Catholic, and in Catholicism, divorce is still not allowed up until this day. So this motherfucker was just so over the Catholic Church, he started his own church, and that's how the the Church of England came about. It's literally just like the Catholic Church, they just believe in divorce. So I'm gonna say no, it's a religious concept, not a government.
So why get the government if it's a religious concept? Why get the government involved at all then? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rex.
To answer your question and to piggyback, because I was thinking the same thing. I can't answer for you, Stephen, as I haven't heard that before. But just from what I know of you, I definitely 100% believe it. I don't have to fact check it. I'm sure you're right. But
It's one of them.
but you know, church and state, right? Like, so of course, marriage would have started off as a religious concept, but religion and state, or government, as you will, as time goes on, right? They work hand in hand, right? If I'm not mistaken, some churches don't have to pay taxes and all that good stuff. So how does that work? Is because they've been working together from the beginning of time. Since they write things on paper and they signed it off, the church and the state have been working intertwined. So for me, it was like it started off, obviously as a religious concept, but because the two are so closely tied together, like Americans and football, it then just, synonymous, like, becomes one, right? And then eventually, why I say it is a government, like, concept now is because you have to go get a paper from the city hall or wherever, which is run by the government or some form of the government, that gets you a paper that says, hey, you two are married, right? It's not like going on Facebook and being like, are you guys in a relationship? You go through a lot more, and then that's the whole thing with like prenubs and divorce, right? Like everybody gets involved because, again, your marriage is on paper for the government and how they operate and do things, and they give perks and do all that fun jazz if you're a couple and stuff like that, joint bank accounts and other things that I don't know about as a just a man in a relationship. So just the things that I've seen and heard, that's what I firmly believe.
I agree with
Other
you.
than the concept of the government, I know that for sure because you do get a paper from
Yeah, you get a
town.
paper
Yeah,
or
yeah,
licensed
yeah,
marriage
yeah.
saying you guys are
Yeah.
married
But just
now.
the perk stuff, sorry, I need to just clarify, but the perk stuff, that's the things that I would just have overheard through conversation, but I knew about the other stuff.
So my whole thing is like, if it started off religious, right, and then it switched
Mhm.
over government, why is the government even involved in something like this? What is there?
Because
Because
be
we're
because
one
the
of we're
government
one of
is
the
the
few
church.
countries. Yeah, we're one of the few countries that we try to act like we have separation of church and state, which I mean, theoretically here in the U.S. we do. What a lot of our founding principles um, are based off of, you know, Western religion, or what? Yeah, yeah. I can't even
I
find a word right now.
I think it's 2 sides of the same coin, right? Or same side, different coin? No. Yeah. No. What is it? Help me. Don't make me look
I
stupid
don't
out
know.
here.
I don't know. I'm like, what are you trying to
It's
say?
this it's this this what the it's basically the same coin, church and state. They
Oh,
just switched. In the back in like what I understand, and especially through like well, because American and like Canadian like history is very, very similar, is that the church was everything. The church kinda ran a lot of the stuff back in the day, and when I think of back in the day, if it helps, it's like Wild West times. Those were the times where, like, the the church was bigger than the police department, right? Or the mayor's office in that sense. So a lot of the things that were in smaller towns were governed through the church because the church helped ran the ideology of the people and how things were ran there, in smaller cases. So they really just worked hand in hand, and then as population gets bigger, right, the government then obviously takes on a bigger role. But again, they've always been working together forever. It's just that as I think as the population gets has increased, people have took different has a they more like, I guess, define their roles in the sense of what they do in regards to this topic.
what are you looking at, Stephen? I see you looking hard.
Oh, I'm just googling some shit.
Okay. Yeah,
Just
so I
pulling.
mean, I guess that was it's real confusing. I agree with you guys. I
Mm.
mean, um, I feel the state personally shouldn't be involved at all. The government shouldn't be
Mhm.
involved in something like that. You shouldn't need a marriage license as a marriage. It should be, you guys want to get married, you get married, and that's between you and the higher powers above that you believe in to do the marriage. You want
But I
So
mean,
you
there's
want
a
you're of
Elvis to
the
there's a
marry
age.
you?
clear
Let
there's a
Elvis marry you. You know what I mean?
but I mean, there's a clear
So
reason as to
as long as
why. Mhm.
two consenting adults, they should be able to get married, regardless of what the government thinks.
Yeah, I think two consenting adults should be able to get married, whether it's a guy and a guy,
Right.
girl and a
Right.
girl, or opposite.
There you
It's they're right, and that's where it gets tricky. And that's why I'm saying, like, when it comes to marriage, like that's something I feel like
Isn't that
again, this is church and state. The government, but the government shouldn't be involved. My personal opinion.
isn't that he had to look out the door to make sure his wife won't listen when he says
Nah, she knows how I feel about that. I mean, I have my
that.
cousin that is married to another female. We went to her wedding out here in Florida and all that,
Yeah.
and I was, perfectly fine with
Didn't
it.
didn't they
It's
move
her
back to New
choice.
York?
Huh?
Didn't they move back to New York?
Yeah, they moved back to New York. They were living here for a little. They moved back up to New York, just because the way the Florida laws are and all that stuff. And that's another thing. Like when the government gets involved, now they want to start making laws and try to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Like I don't feel like they should have the right and certain things like that to tell you what's right and what's wrong. So example is my niece or my cousin was pregnant, right? And in the state of Florida, they have a law, or DeSantis just recently passed a law saying that two people of the same sex, if they're having a kid, the other person cannot be listed on the birth certificate. Only one
Oh, I
male,
didn't
one
know that.
female. Yes. So in this case, you have two females, and they were trying to tell my cousin, "Oh, well, your wife that you're married to now, she's not recognized to be listed on the birth certificate."
I didn't know that.
And that's ridiculous. And again, that's where I just don't feel like stuff like that. You shouldn't have to get involved in. You know what I mean? That's something out of
Yeah.
your lane. Stick to making laws to like protect the citizens and all that stuff, and to better us. How is that bettering us? Now he did also pass in that same law the law where there's no taxes on child stuff here in the state of Florida. So if you're buying diapers, um, formula, stuff like that, which I'm mad late on now. I'm just like, come on, dude. They don't have to pay taxes on. So she still does that to this day. I'm not gonna lie. She sends us money to my mom. She goes and buys her formula because it's way cheaper to do it here than it is in New York. But she
For
doesn't live in
sure.
the city. She moved upstate New York.
Nice, nice. Okay, so it's
They moved
interesting. I was just looking
to
up
Canada.
something because what up?
I said she moved to Canada with Rex.
She's close to
No,
Canada.
no.
She is
Upstate is not. I would move upstate New York and be very comfortable. Um,
because it's
but I was
Canada.
just looking. No, it's not.
It's
It's America. It's so much different. You two are bozos. Um, but I was looking up some shit. So it
Uh-huh.
was just talking about like I just Googled what's the official purpose. And I think it's interesting because I think as times change, kind of
Mhm.
like with people would like to bring it with like the Bible in certain senses, right? Is
Yeah.
that what I see here is that marriage is a civil status or relationship created by the legal union of two people. It imposed certain duties and responsibilities upon each other and to society. These duties last until death or one of the legal termination of the relationship. And historically, the purpose of marriage was for procreation. So I think, at a different time, and when I say different time, like a very less populated time, that kind of maybe made more sense where if it's a civic status and relation as a relationship status, but also like a legal union, and they have responsibilities upon themselves into society, that like they're supposed to be like role models, and as you would say, like things that like the government and other people shouldn't get involved in, that like that essentially that the essence of people that have a good marriage, that positivity, right, can then transcend onto the community, seeing other people, right? You raise kids in a two-parent household that, raises the belief and ideology for those kids to then want to have the same thing, right? And then that shows like other people that, right, seeing that like we always talk about it, right? You look at like TV marriages. Everybody talks about TV marriages, right? And how, some of those are the ones that you idolize because those are the ones that work no matter what through thick and thin and so on and so forth. So I think now as things get muddied and overpopulated, those duties and tasks and things like that get overlooked because I remember the last like wedding I went to, right, in the vows in and what the is it the pastor, I believe, the one that the one that running the ceremony,
Depending,
right,
yeah,
tells
it
you,
could be the
yeah,
pastor or whatever.
yeah, right, but they're the ones that also tell you that, like, you do have a civic duty, right? As you guys do come together, right, in that religious sense, right? In whatever partake belief, but at the same time, right, that marriage is that when you do come together, you do hold a social responsibility, right? That like, not only to love each other, but to love like everyone else around you and to show for that. Because I do understand that, like, you know, it's different being married and having these responsibilities and like your whole life changes, so you end up kind of being a role model, or you end up kind of being like a leader in a sense because you have this newfound experience of committing to one person. And then if you have kids and so on and so forth, you have all these things that like you can share. So I just do think that now, as the concept just kind of gets
But do you?
washed over.
But does the
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. But does the
No,
government
no,
have
no.
to be involved for that? I mean, why can't the government just back its way out now and be like, hey, we don't need to be involved in if you're married or not. You know,
Hmm.
you do your thing out there, and that's between you and person and your religion to get married.
I think it falls under the same category as to vote, to be completely honest, right? Where like it's a civic duty. And I'm not saying it's your civic duty to get married, but like it's just that like these are things that are part of civilization, and there are things that we do agree with, right? Whereas that like some people may say that we don't need a government, but a government in the sense, just a government. I'm not saying, a government, but just the under the definition of government, right? It provides a form of structure. So, one thing I always love to note is that I think it was a comedian. They always talked about like how one comedian talked about the voting in America should change because at a certain time, the way that they voted, it made sense for the amount of people that they have. Now the population has gone up so much that that type of style doesn't work anymore, and that would need to be adjusted. I think those are also things that would have to also be adjusted too, because again, we look if you don't look at the government the in the setting of how they may have ruined your life in many different ways, but again, if you just look at it in the definition of just the sense of structure, a small community, right, a governing body can manage a well structured sense under that. I just think that having too much people then creates chaos, right? Because then they're trying to appease everybody, which appeases nobody, and then people have bad experiences, and then we kind of get into these kind of points where do you trust your government? Not, but I think in the like I said, just in the plain sense of it all, right? Having a good government with structure in a good community, like it can all work together.
Do you trust your
Because
government?
man,
Me? No. God, no. But again,
man,
that's what I said.
man,
Long
brother.
live the king.
Like I said, no, no, power to the people, baby. Come on now. There's more of us than there is them. But again, as I said, in a good government sense of just the word, not looking at American, Canadian, European, or any of that. Just under the sense of government is just to provide civil structure. And we've seen that in smaller places that it can work. But just I believe that with overpopulation and trying to satisfy a lot more of a bigger mass, it just ruins it for everybody in general.
What were you saying, Steven? I'm sorry, I cut you
Real
off when you were talking.
nah, this man over there rustling some feathers talking about our voting systems, bro. This man is referring to the electoral college process, maybe. Ooh, Russell some jimmies on the internet there. Anyways, did you guys know that there are only 2 countries on earth where divorce is not legally allowed?
Is not
I did not
legally
know
allowed.
that. Where
So you can't.
2 countries. I'll give you one just because it's easy. And I'll just throw it out there and it makes sense. It's Vatican City. That
Mm.
makes
okay.
sense. It's a Catholic place. Now the other one, it surprised me. I actually learned it like last week. And Christian, if you look it up, you're probably already googling
I did already. I'm shocked
it.
right now. I can't believe it.
Yo, right?
I'm not
I
I'm
was
not
like,
gonna
but it makes sense.
It was
It
the
give me a
Philippines.
hint.
it makes,
God damn it. I was gonna
but
say
it makes,
India, but yeah, Philippines it
I
makes
was
but
sense.
thinking India
no,
as well. I was like, let me look this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
but the Philippines makes sense. And if you think about Christian, like all the
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
The
some
Filipino
of the
people.
people that we grew up with,
Yeah.
bro, like
Absolutely. Yep. Family.
bro, them
Come on
people,
now.
were
Yeah.
familiar that till death do you part,
Yeah.
bro. Like
You
Oh
know
my
one thing
think
goodness.
about
Oh my
like
goodness.
I know
Yeah.
divorce is a thing, right? You're able to do that. I guess I'm just old school. I'm the same way. I don't believe in it. I told my wife multiple times, like, hey, look, you ever want a divorce, either you dying or I'm dying, because it's the death do us part. We said it. It is what it is. We might be miserable, but we're gonna be miserable together to the end. But
Did you say it with like your hand on the door like this?
when I told her, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. No, we talked. I mean, we had that conversation when we first got married, and then it came up several other times. And it's just like, hey, look,
Christian Christian got a big ass master bedroom. He got 2 king size beds in there. He
man,
live in
bro,
1950 style.
listen, death do
You
us
go back to
part.
them old TV shows that they didn't sleep together.
The death do us part, bro. I
Bernie
don't
and
play.
Ert beds.
If you want, if you want to talk about some crazy marriage customs, look into Orthodox Judaism and like their marriage norms.
Orthodox.
Shit is
Oh,
wild.
they have a show about that, bro. How they
I've
get
seen many
arranged
of them, bro.
marriage, and the girl was like, "But I don't really love him, and well, he's got to provide.
Don't
You need.
matter.
What are
and
you
then
doing to make him mad?" And like,
and in New York, like how them people live in their own little world, bro. Like it's
they got
crazy.
like a whole
Out
block
in the
that they
middle of
just
New York,
communicate with each other.
whole block, whole
Well, like a whole little town. Yeah, it's more than a block. You're right, but
bro.
they
Them
live
dudes,
on. They live in a block because the show was based out in New York, and everybody that knew
yeah,
everybody was in this
Williamsburg.
one fucking apartment, and or not apartment, but like a fucking like fucking the projects almost, but it wasn't projects,
Hmm.
but it was fucking everybody lived. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody's business. Like it was just like, yo, why
Small
haven't
town
You want to?
you
If
vibes.
you want to,
been able to have sex with him? And she's like, I'm so young still. I can't open it. I don't know how to. And they're trying to tell her different things to do to like loosen her up so that way,
oh, and not only that, just look at their bedding customs. Like
yeah,
it's crazy. Like
yeah. The
they're only
husband,
allowed to lay with their yeah.
yeah, the husband only allowed to lay with her when they're having sex. Besides that, they sleep separately and crazy.
Bro,
What
yeah, and
is
it's
this?
it's
What
weird.
is it? Just a group of people, or is this
Is
like a
or
religious like?
no, Orthodox Judaism,
Oh, but they're also
like
a group
Orthodox
based in
Jews.
New York. Oh, is or the show? Sorry, the show
The
is
show
about
was
them,
based
and
in New
then
The
York,
show
yes,
is
it's based
but
on them. Okay.
majority of them,
yeah,
there's a big high population in New York, in the Bronx, or is it the Bronx?
Mm,
No, it was
mhm.
Brooklyn. It was Brooklyn. Sorry,
no, it's in Brooklyn,
it
Brooklyn.
was in Brooklyn. Yeah, and they have a big, and it's based on a true story. Like there's a
Yeah.
big section of Brooklyn that's just, but then that's also goes back to when we talked about in another episode how. Money stays within the customs, or we probably never even talked about that, but that might be a good episode. How Jewish people keep the dollar within longer than
Yeah,
any
we talked
other.
about that. I'm pretty sure.
I thought we did.
Steven
Okay,
say
yeah.
something?
Well,
Didn't
Jewish
Steven say
people
something?
keep,
It gets exchanged about like 10 times before
yeah,
it
before
goes.
it reaches out
Yeah.
to an ordinary person compared to whites,
Yeah.
blacks, Hispanics. I think the lowest was actually whites, that they were like their dollar was going out one right after. Blacks had it like twice, 2 or 3 times. Hispanics were like 3 to 4. Like it was really close between blacks and Hispanics. But Jewish people, they keep the dollar within themselves. Like, they only buy from other. And when we say that, guys, if you don't know what we're meaning, we're talking about Jewish people buy stuff from other Jewish people first. They'll go, especially in New York and Brooklyn, like they'll go to their bakery. They'll spend their money on this. They'll do this. The person that owns the building is Jewish. Like they literally try to do everything they can besides probably the electric, which they got no control over. That's Con Ed. But it goes all through the Jewish people. You know what I mean? And
I'm fucking dead.
But that's how, and people wonder why Jewish people own a lot of the real estate in America, and they're doing big things. Jay-Z said that.
Kanye?
No, Jay-Z said that.
Calm the fuck down, Kanye.
Jay-Z said
over
that.
Here. You about to get your podcast canceled. Bro.
I'm just saying, it's not. I'm not trying to. I'm just speaking truth, bro. Dude, just like Asians.
Go get your black mask.
Yo, just like Asians, no lie. When we went to St. Martin, and or was it St. Martin? Yeah, because St. Martin is spelled 2 different ways. It's owned by the French and whatever.
Saint Martin, then yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy. French. When we went there, even the tour guide told us not majority. Every single grocery store in St. Martin on both sides, the French and the Dutch side, are owned by Chinese people. Not owned by blacks. And we were shocked. It's like it's a majority black country, a lot of strong black people there. And it's just like they're living in poverty. It's the second world, third world country. It's like really bad. We're seeing some fucked up shit, like really some crazy shit. And then we passing all these fucking grocery stores and they got Asian writing on it. So my wife asked the tour guide, she was like, yeah, almost every grocery store there is owned by Asian. And it's just like, damn, bro. They taking over the world too. They buying shit up.
In the Caribbean too, is everywhere.
No,
yeah,
I'm over here.
I'll save him.
Before we get too far.
Okay.
Before we get too far, I'm over here laughing to myself because I saw a meme on the internet the other day that had me fucking dying laughing since we're talking about Jewish America. Some American went to Germany and was like, why is it so hard to find a good bagel here? And somebody just like they cut and they're like, I wonder why. See what happened in the 1940s. Who makes fucking bagels? And they left. That's why Germany doesn't have good bagels. Bro, I died laughing so hard.
Too funny, bro. But I can say what I'm saying because my aunt was married to a Jewish man. He passed away, Uncle Henry, rest in peace. So my cousins are half Jewish, and one of them is a financial.
My friend is black.
He did. I have a
black friend.
I have Jewish family members. I'm okay to say this. But it's true though because he's a financial. You know how they say Jewish people are really stingy with their money.
Oh my god,
bro! Yeah, I thought that was fake until I met my cousins. Aaron calling you out, Brandon calling you out, Mark calling you out, Victoria. You good, girl? I love you. You good? But your brothers, stingy, bro. And one of them is a financial advisor, bro, and he is caking up. We're talking about that. I gotta talk to you about my money. We gotta get together. We get this coins up. So yeah. So if anybody needs financial advice, hit up my cousin. He is a financial advisor in Miami. He mostly deals with. You have to be wealthy. Actually, that's the clientele he deals with. When I mean wealthy, he doesn't take clients really under $400,000. So you have to have a yearly salary of $400K or more. He's doing big things, but he'll take care of me. And if you tell him I referred you, he might take care of you as well. Throw that plug in there.
Charge extra.
Just throwing that plug in there. But anyways, guys, let us know what you guys think about marriage. Should the government be involved? Why is the government involved? Do you agree with the government being involved? And then also, what do you think about this Jewish America thing, man? Like, this is crazy what we got into. This is a whole nother topic, but this is crazy. We'd love to hear your feedback. Like always, you can send us an email at cutthecrap with 2 P's, 1 at gmail.com. That's CUTTHECRAPP1 at gmail.com. Send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Discord. We're all over the place. Feel free to reach out to us. We do appreciate you guys for listening like always. Till next week and watching, by the way. Catch you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace.